Good morning, everyone. Hope you're all okay. Welcome to today's dem with Jerry on camera and myself. Right, so sadly, the cutter isn't quite ready. We've done a few changes, so we didn't want to rush it. So that's going to be next week, hopefully, should be. And so I thought I would do a couple of orchids with the Mexican paste that I made last week. It sort of leads on from that, doesn't it? So I'm going to go, if we go down here, Jezza, I'll show you that's it. If you want to fix that down now, you don't have to lean over then. Okay, so the first one I'm going to do is the Cattleya orchid, this one here. Now, I made as I say, I made the Mexican paste. You saw me do it last week. And I had two batches. Now, the one I made was good. The one I had already made was a little bit soft when I made it. And I can tell when I'm working with the paste. Now, I did cut them all up. I got a bag of bits here. Cut both of them up. And I put them all in little bags and put them in the big bag in the freezer. Now, I had a question about how long can you keep them in the paste in the freezer. Now, I've left it in for about 4 months, and then I've gone back and used it then, 3 or 4 months. But I don't know, to be honest, because, as I say, I haven't really left it in there 12 months or anything like that. So if anyone has used it, I know, is it Sheila that makes it, then let us know how long you've left it in there for. But that's the paste I'm using today. Okay, now I'll just move that out of the way for now. I might need some later. I'll just put it over there. So I'm going to start off with the Cattleya orchid. Now that's the cutter. You see here I've got 3 different sizes. Okay, so if I lift that up there. And it's the large one I'm going to do. So I'll move those 2 out of the way. And it's gone very dark outside. I wonder if you hear a bang of thunder, I'll be under the table. Just believe me. Right, so that's the one. You can see the frilly top, a little bit like a garret frill top, isn't it? So those are the cutters that I'm going to be using now. I'll put that to one side, and I'll do the other one later. Right, so let's have a look at the paste. So this is the paste, this is the firm one. That's perfect for what I'm working. So you just work it. When you take it out of the bag, it will feel a little bit wet maybe in places where it's defrosted. So take it out, leave it for half an hour, even just half an hour to do, and then work it. So you've got your nice paste there. So I'll leave that there. Now this one was a piece of the softer mix, and it's not bad, but as I'm working it more now, it's a little bit softer, a little bit stickier. So I can firm that up. Now I wouldn't use corn flour because that can really dry your paste, and it dries quick anyway. So I would just knead into that a little, see it's starting to stick on my fingers. I would knead into that a little more ice and sugar until it feels like that. That one is great. That's just perfect. Okay. So I'll put that to one side because I'm only going to use this other one today. I'll put that at the back. Right, here we go. So I'm going to start off. So you start off with the column. That's the long bit in the centre, covered in that soft paste now. So I'm going to take a ball of paste. That's a bit too big. So about 1 centimetre across. That's too big. I've made one already there as a guide, which is always handy to do. So you see where you're going with that. And for this column, I'm going to put it on quite a firm, I think this is a 22 wire, anyway, whatever it is. It's a firm wire. So into a ball, just make sure it's nice and pliable, into a ball, and then into a tapered sausage, if you get what I mean. And that's usually about 2/3 of the way. I mean, this is my way of doing it, not, you know, there are other people who do it their way. I just do it an easy way. Okay, a quick way, put it that way. Right, so I'm just going to put a little bit of water on that wire, insert that in and give a little roll. I mean, as you know, my favourite flower, I mean, we've got some brilliant flower made, Christine and that, but my all-time favourite is Alan Dunn. I just love his work. And he has got a fantastic tutorial out at the moment on snapdragons. So if you go over to his nasturtium website, and I'll have to put a link up to that one time, but I put in Alan Dunn. He's got great classes, but that snapdragon just blew my mind when I saw it. Right, so I'll put that down so you can see what I'm doing. So this is the back of my bone tool. I'm just pressing that on like so, just to hollow that out a little bit, like that. And then just bring that round the top. Just pinch it into a slight thingy shape like that. I don't think this has got a little, I can't remember what I've done now. Oh yeah, it has. Okay, and then I'm just going to take a little ball. You could wait for that to dry before you do this bit. I wonder if I've got one dry here. Yeah. Okay, so I'll put it in now. So I'm just going to moisten the top with a little water. Now, if you want to use glue, that's fine. I just use what you want to use. I just use water, sticks. And then the Dresden tool, let's see where that is. The Dresden tool is just tucked away there. So I'm just making a little thing like that. Okay, so that's the column done. I'm just going to leave that to dry. So I've got one here that's already up to that stage. Okay, so we've got that, and that's, I'll put that there. Just remind me if I can't find it. Or shout at the screen. Right, so now we need the sepals. So there's three. There's the dorsal and the two lateral. I've written it all down. These are the long bit. Now these are not frilly. They just more or less straightforward. But what I'm going to do is, I mean, orchids are quite easy to do, and they look quite magnificent in a bouquet, don't they? You know, the recipient thinks you've done wonders to make this orchid. I think, well, actually, it's easier than anything else. Let me just get these wings on my sleeves out of the way. Tuck them up a bit more, that's better. Right, so I am just rolling that down, making those thin, and it's a little bit thicker at the top, and that's where I'm going to cut ready for the wire to go through. So I'm making these. So this is the one for that. Also makes a nice leaf cut of that, doesn't it? If you're going to do leaves. Right, so I'll just get that up. Just go along. You don't always get a sharp cut if the metal hasn't reached the board. So by doing that with your hand, you're going to get a nice sharp cut. I'll show you what to do if you don't. Right, so we've got that. We're going to put our wire in. So I've moved over now to 26 gauge wire, and I'm going to make a little hook on the end of this. I didn't hook the other one, but it does seem to stay on the paper tape. I mean, some people use a lighter, you know, an actual lighter to burn the ends. I'm not let loose with fire. Burn the apps down. So I do it this way. So I've got my hook damped in water, and then just insert it and really pinch firmly as you insert that. And then it can't come out either front or back. It just sits in the middle as long as you give it a good pinch. So we've got our thing on there. Okay. Right, so then I'm going to put that, move that out of the way. I'll put it over there. Right, so we're going to put that onto a sponge pad, and now I'm going to use this just to give a little bit of texture. Oh, I didn't find, I was going to look to see. I think I've used this before. I can't remember what number it is in the gem set. So somebody on here will find that for me, won't they? And it's the double ridge side that I'm using. And I'm just going to mark on a few little texture things on there. And as I say, there's not a lot of movement in these. There's slight, and I want to thin the end. So turn it over and always do all your softening on the back in case you make a ridge. You won't see it on the back, but you would on the front. So I'm just going to glide that along, half on, half off, half on, half off. So you're getting a little bit of movement, but not much, okay? Not sort of frilly as I'm going to do in a minute. Right, and that's that. So then I usually, I've got my rolling pin in a drawer because there isn't room on here for it. But then I would put that on like so, and you need you need two like that and one turned over, because that's the one that I would say it looks in. So you've got two with the veining or the texturing uppermost, and then one with that turned over, okay? Right, so I'll put that over there. I've got plenty of those already made. Now, we're going to go on to the petals. So there's 3 petals, but one is actually what do they call it? The lip. Anyway, they're all frilly, these. So we go down with this. I just call everything petals, you see. I'm trying to give you the proper terms. In fact, I'd probably just say the thingy. I probably wouldn't go into petals. And this is where Alan comes in, you see, because his knowledge of flowers is just amazing. I have been, many years ago, he was only a young lad, and I went on one of his courses. And then he came up to our unit and he's done a few classes there when we had the unit, we haven't got it now. Right, so this time I'm using the wider one, okay? So, again, I'm cutting out this part with, didn't scoop up. I knew that wasn't going to happen. Never mind, that's all right. I just couldn't scoop it. No biggie. Right, I'll leave that there. The only thing is you don't get, sometimes you don't get a nice perfect. Get rid of some of that. I'll show you what to do about that in a minute. Okay, so take my wire again. Drop that one. Hook it over into water or glue. Take off the excess. And then into the thickened end. So let's just have a look here. In there, give a good pinch, squeeze your fingers together as it goes in. You can feed it through then. Okay, so that's in there. And then I'll get the butterfingers today. Right, so again, I'm just going to do a little bit of texturing on the front first of all. Not much. If you've got a veiner, then use that, you know. I should make your own veiners one week, shouldn't I? Right. Okay, so do that, then turn it over. I'm just going to press one central. Paste on that. One central, so when you look at it from the front, it's just got a hint of a raised bit there. And then I'm going to go round with my bone tool, the large end of my bone tool, just to thin that out first of all. Okay, so we're getting a bit of movement, and then I'm going round it like so, to give it frilly. So these 2 side ones are quite frilly. Okay. So we're doing all this on the back. because any little ridge like that won't be seen from the front when you turn it over. You've just got a nice frilly edge to that. Right, and then we've got one there, which I've got a few dried, so you can just pinch there, or you can give a little twist. And again, that goes onto that. So you want 2 of those. And then the third one is going to be the same thing, but we're going to wrap it round the column. No, that's the other one, hang on. Wrap it round the column. So you've got your column there, and then this is exactly the same, what I've just done. No, it's not. Take the notice of that. I'm thinking of 2 orchids at the same time. Okay, so rewind, and we want 2 of those on there. So we've got 3 of the thin ones and 2 of those on there, okay? Right, now we go on to the other bit, this one. I thought that didn't look right. I have made orchids with this, but we are doing them properly today. Okay, so I'm going to dust a little bit of yellow down the centre of this. So I'll just do it over here so I don't get it all over the board. So I'll put the yellow on now. And then, there's no thickened part now, it's just roll this out. In fact, I'm going to move that green tray out because that's the other orchid and it's confusing me. So easily confused now at my age. Right, so let's roll this out nice and thin. Okay, and still using the Mexican paste, and then we're going to cut out this. You see, I'm trying not to use corn flour, because once you start using that and working it into your paste, this dries out really quickly anyway, and it will dry out even more quickly with adding corn flour to it. So I've got the non-stick board and I'm trying not to use that. So this is what we're making now, this out of this, okay? So you see in there, on that one I've already dusted like I've done what I'm doing now. Right, so get your bone tool. Now if it feels a little bit sticky, you can turn it over, but we'll do that one. And this is the, it doesn't really matter which side you're doing it on. But because it's very thin, you wouldn't see a ridge in there. So this is just straightforward, soften all the way around. Now, if you can start off on there, but I like to use a cocktail stick, like with a Garrett frill. I've got to find a cocktail stick on here. There they are. So this is how I would do mine. You start off with your bone tool if you want, but then I usually go around with a cocktail stick, and it's just that that part there. Trust me to pick a cocktail stick up. It's got a strip out of it. That's it. It's round. It's this part here. Now, I grew up when I had my wedding cake business before Patchwork Cutters. That was in the time of Garrett frills on wedding cake. Well, on any cake really. Everybody just wanted 3 or 4 layers, different shades, and of Garrett frills. So I'm sure the knobbles on my fingers now are due to me doing this with a cocktail stick on tiers of cakes, hundreds and hundreds of Garrett frills. But I like to use the cocktail stick when I'm doing anything like that, because you can just keep going. You don't do one section then move on, because what happens, you end up with a little thick section between, and that prevents it from really flowing and getting a nice movement on that. Okay, right, so I'm going to put that back on there. The front of it, I will just give it a little bit of texture and then turn it over. Just going to do a centre vein, just stretch that out like so, turn it back. So you can just see on there this raised section there. Right, so then take the throat, and that's going to lay on there. So I'm just going to moisten the back. Sorry, take the column. This is the column. Just make it sticky. Don't have it too wet, because you want this to wrap around and stick. You don't want it to be slip and sliding everywhere. Just a touch on there. So then if I lift that up, lay that on, wrap that round. Now they're going to meet in the middle on this flower. All right. So wrap that round and then just hold on to it. And then you can just pull that back and just shape it how you want that to go. All right. If it looks more one way than the other, let's open that up a bit. I have to have it looking at me so I can see what I'm doing. And I'll hold it open for you. All right. So you'd leave it like that. Now, because this is Mexican paste, if I just sat here for a minute or two, that will start to firm up and hold its shape. And then I can just stick it into something like this. Probably on the top like that. I think you see that. And then I would just leave that to dry, as I've done with this one. Okay, so I'll leave that there. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Right, so obviously you need one of these. So then you've got your 3 sepals and your 2 side petals. So this is regarded as a petal. That's when I said 3 of each. Right, I'm going to put that back under there because I'll need it later. Now you can see here, if you want to make leaves, I've done exactly the same as for the sepals, but I've done it in green, so it would act as a leaf. Far too small for the orchid. It needs to be much bigger, and I would cut one out freehand. But I'm not bothered so much about leaves today. I'd rather do the other orchid. Right, so I've just made one to show you. Okay, so to put this together then, so I'm just going to dust a little more yellow down the centre. Yellow brush. So I'm just going down like so. Now if you want, I mean, for a wedding, and these are lovely for a wedding, you may just want to leave them white. And in that case, I would maybe get some lime green, just a hint, not too much. And just put a touch of lime green around the base. It still looks white, but it's nice to have a hint of lime green, say, on there. Just hardly anything at all. But it's amazing when just that touch, when you put the whole thing together, it's got just a hint of the green around the base. Right, so, but I'm going to go with a pink, I think. I should have a piece of kitchen paper. What can I use? Oh, I'll use that. Okay, so these are going to, these thin ones are going to stay plain. 1, 2, and this is what I call the lucky in one. I've veined both sides. No, that's not it. I've veined both sides of that, so that's the lucky in one. So they stay plain, and then I want let's say 2 of these, and these are going to be dusted pink. So I'm going to go, I mean, there's so many colours. Have a look at, just put Google Cattleya orchid and choose your colour, or if the bride or the person wants a particular colour. I haven't got my bellows for this, so I am blowing on it, but it's a non-edible item. As soon as you put wires into something, it becomes non-edible, doesn't it? So I'm not that bothered about that. Let's see, got loads of these. So these are all very frilly. These 2 petals around the outside. Oh, a bit too much on there. So by brushing from the outside edge in, which I do on practically everything, you get the bulk of the colour on the edge, and then it just blends away into the petal. If I went the other way there, you'd end up with strong colour there. It wouldn't really be outlining anything. Right, so putting this together, and I'm using green tape, which I have gone round with my craft knife to make it into half width. You can, oh, I haven't done this one. Oh, getting all carried away. You can buy it ready, ready. Oh, that's me yellow. Ready coloured now. Ready cut, half width. But I just go around it with my craft knife. Okay. So I sat making some of these yesterday and I thought, oh, it's lovely just sitting doing this. I love this retirement. I've got time to play. And that's why I'm doing these, really. Also because of Neil's cutters. But it's for me as well, because I'd be lost without anything to do. I'd have to do all my housework. So, yeah, I'm enjoying doing this. Right, so you can see on there, just put a bit on the back of that column. Right, put that back in there. I'm going to start taping. Now, when you put this together, I always think of, you've got a head, and that's the one that's going to look in. That's that one. Yeah. I said before I'd show you what to do if you've got a rough edge. And this one I dropped on the floor yesterday and the end of it snapped. So what you do with any of these, if you find you've got a rough edge or something you want to, just get a little nail file. It's such a strong paste, the Mexican paste, that you can just do that and it will take it. So the broken edge on that, I just reshaped it with my nail file. Right, so you've got the one that looks in, I call that the head. Then there's two legs. This is my way of thinking. Okay, so then you've got two arms, which are frilly sleeves. And then that goes in that way so that can come up and look inside it. You with me on that? So that's my plan. So I start off with the two legs. I put the two legs together first. I'm sure there's a technical term for them. Okay. So I'm going to start off. And now what you don't do, you don't work your way down. Everything is coming from one point. Let me get this started first. Right. Two legs there and there. Okay. Now I'm going to add the side petals now. And I want them in really tight as well, all coming from the one area. I'm not working my way down. Everything is coming from that one point. You just do the way you know how you want to do it. So that's 1 and 2. There's the legs and there's arms. So tape it round. It's a bit fiddly, but if you're more happy taping over a piece of sponge, then do that. Now you can see here that I've got a little bit of wire showing there, so don't be afraid to just pull that off and take that back up to the top. You don't want to see wire if you can help it. Okay, that's it, nice and tight. And then what you can do is fathom out which is which and pull these wires from here. So that's that one. So can you see that? I can just pull that down and I can pull the other one down. That's it. So there's no wire at the top there now, so I'm just going to give it another little twist. That's securing that in. Right, now if anything snaps, don't worry, because you can, you know, hopefully you'll have some spares. I always have spares made for these. Now this is the one that's looking in, so this goes opposite the legs. So we've got 2 legs, 2 arms, and then the one that's looking up and in. So let's take that on. Okay, that's it. So I'm just going to go down a little bit now, holding all that in. Still leave it at the here so that you can pull down if need be. Quite tight there, and then this goes in. So this one is coming up, looking in. You have to give it something to look at. Let's get that wire in there. Okay, so see what I mean about it's coming up and looking in. It's no good having that round that way. It can't look in then. So it needs to look into your flower, into the top there. And then I will retape all the way down this time. So if you need more tape, so when you're taping, don't forget to stretch the tape. That won't stick. You haven't released the gum, so you have to stretch it and release that gum. It looks like crepe paper until you do that. Right, I'm going to start back at the top. Right up at the top. So once you've got, you've got everything in position, you can go back and just going to cut that off. You can go back and fiddle with the petals now. Right, so that's the one looking in. Those are 2 legs. That one's there, that one's there. And then just hold the top and bend that. You see what I'm doing? I'm bending that wire over so that actually around the wrong way. So you bend it so it's like between the legs there. So that's looking that way. So the one that's looking in is at the top. Yeah? And so then you can add that to something like that. Or I would go probably put it there, but you see all those, the top petal is the top sepal is looking in and over, so that would fit in there or there. If you were doing just these, then maybe have it there or there. I'll add it there. No, I won't. I'll just leave it like that. I'll put it in with something else. I'll put it in with some roses or something. I might keep all these because I've still got the alstroemeria that I made. So if I hang on to all these flowers, I could maybe do a nice arrangement in a cake or something at the end of the summer to put them all together. Anyway, so that's that one. That's the Cattleya orchid. Now, this is the Cymbidium orchid, right? So I'm going to do this one now. Very similar to the other one in a way. And I'm using, where did I put those cutters? Right, so I'm still using this one. And this is the, put all this out of the way. Right, where did I put it now? That's the one I've just used now. I'm going to do the one that, oh yeah, right in front of me. Really old cutter, this one. Gosh, must be going back about 40 years, 30 years. But you can see the difference on those two. So this one is like a garret frill. It's all frill. This one, you've got the plain top and just a couple of sections there. So this is the one I'm using for the Cymbidium and that. Right. Just have a little sip of water. Again, we're going to do the column. This time it's slightly different. And I've coloured some paste. This was the green I originally made. And then, I'm still using Mexican paste, by the way. So then I added a touch of yellow to it just to calm it down a bit, and that's the colour that I'm actually going to use now. So you can see the difference in the colour. So this was the lime green with a touch of more yellow in it, just to calm it down. Okay, let's clear this away. I've got pink and everything all over the place. And that goes there, and that goes there. Right, so let's swap these over. I'll get rid of that. I'll bring that one in, excuse me. Messing about there. Right, so to begin with then, we're going to make the column. And I am going to use a strong wire. I've got it out here somewhere. Where did I put that other that I've used? There it is. Right. Okay, so I'm still using my strong wire for the centre. And the ball is about the same size as the other one. So that when you do that, it's about 2/3 of the length of that. Which is about just a little bit more. Okay. So this is the column that we're making now. Okay. And just make it a little touch longer. Yeah, that's better. About 2/3 of the length. So I'm using my bone tool, whatever you've got that you think, oh, I can use that instead. So I'm just pressing down very much like, oh, I'll tell you what, I'll put it on the wire first. So into the water, into there, and really secure that on. Sorry, I'm sure I've gone out of shot on a lot of this. Really get a good contact on there. Now I haven't hooked this wire at all, but the paper, can you see there's paper on there, and it's coming off. It's not very good really, but it does hold the column on pretty good. Right, so let's see, I've got this here. Now I'm going to just hollow that out. I'll use the larger end and bring that up the sides. I'm just hollowing it out. And then, if you can see this, it's hard to show on the angle, but I'm just tipping it over and I'm pressing that out. Then turn it over and do the other side. So they look the same. All right, so can you see that? Like googly eyes, don't they? So then I'm just going to bring that round. Push that so you're making like a little hood, if you like. And I'm just going to take a tiny piece of white into a ball, moisten, with a little water. Pop that in. It's not too hot today, is it? My hands aren't that swollen. And then, with the sharp end of my dresser tool, I'm just going to press, make it like a little V shape there. Now, you have to think, oh, I can't be bothered with all that. I mean, if it's for somebody who loves Cymbidium orchids, that do it. If it's just to go in a big arrangement, it's up to you how much. Well, you should do this really, but it depends how much work you want to put into it. Okay, smooth that out there. So you'd leave that to dry, and then what I've done here with this one, I've dusted some of the lime green inside, and I've painted in there, and I've painted little tiny dots all over. Can you see in there? Yeah, so little tiny dots inside there. So that's the column done. Now for this one, I should really have this covered because it does dry out so quickly. You do have to get a wiggle on with these, you know. because it does dry quite quickly. Right, so what I'm doing with this, none of them are really frilly. Like the Cattleya, they have those two arm bits and they're really frilly, but this isn't. You've got movement, but it's not frilly. Right, so I'm just rolling that out nice and thin. Some of them I didn't get as thin as I should, but hey ho. Now, just going to put that on there, scoop it up, wipe it off. Even then, I've got a little bit of an edge to it. Right, so back to my 26, 28's too I feel is too soft and movement. So 26 wire I've got on here. So a little hook, again, just as before, push it in, but pinch as you push, and then that will go in. It won't pop out front or back. And you're also thinning that paste, but don't start off with the paste too thick anyway. It's only to take the wire. Right, so onto your sponge, and again, I'm going to, all I'm doing is with this, the one with the ridge on, well, what that's for really, if you're doing lilies and you want those two parallel lines, that is perfect for that. Shall do lilies one week. Oh, I forgot. Forgot a good bit there. When you cut it out, just press that point away. Just use your finger. Hang on. Where's my knife? Sorry, I start to chop. See, that cutter is quite pointed, isn't it? There. And I don't want it. It's got more of a rounded end. So I'm just knocking that point, just pressing that in. So it takes the pointy bit away. Okay, so it's more rounded. Right, then you go to the centre. Because when I'm sitting here and I'm just playing, I don't even think about what I'm doing really. So I'm getting those lines on there. But when I'm talking, then you have to remember. Right, so now I'm going to turn that over. Get the bone tool, or if you've got a ball tool, use this, because the bone tool can make it a little bit too frilly, too movement, but the ball tool being larger, you will just get a nice flow on that. You see, it's a nice wave rather than, and that's because that's half on and half off, and the ball tool is smaller, so you'll get it more frilly, which I don't want. Okay, and then I'm just going to pinch that, get a bit of movement, and then again, that would go on your rolling pin, like so. So I want two, like that. Okay, so I've got those there. 1, 2, 3. No, 3 like that. Right, go back to it. So 3 like that, 2 of them that way and 1 over that way. Okay, it's the opposites to the Cattleya, where the sides are frilly. These are smaller, but not so much movement in. So you cut out 3 exactly as I've done there. 2 of them you lay on like so. The 3rd you turn it over like that. That's going to be the one that looks in. Okay. And then the 2, what I call arms, the side ones, you use the same cutter. You'll play this back and go, what's she talking about? No. You'll keep up. Right, so the 2 side ones, or the arms, are going to be slightly smaller. Okay, so cut that out. And then I'm just moving the cutter down a little bit. and cutting a bit more off. You see on there, so it's only ever so, but it's a slightly smaller. Then you put your wire in, make your hook, and then give a pinch as you push it in onto here, and then you can do that. Now if you've got a ball tool, you will have a gem, you will have that end, and you can do that with that. That will give you nice marks as well. Just a little bit of texture, and that's all. Don't forget to push that pointy end in, so you've got rid of the point on there. Turn it over, movement. And you see, I don't know if you'll be able to see on screen, but there's a slight ridge because that's sunk into the paste, if you like, because it was a little bit thicker. But from the front, you don't see that ridge. And then you can just get a little bit of movement on there, and then onto your rolling pin. So you want 2 of those slightly smaller ones. Okay, so let's just recap on that. Put those on there. So what I've got here, I've got 2 slightly smaller ones there, and I've got 3 of these, one of which is looking in. That one is looking in. Okay, so I've got 3 of those and 2 slightly smaller. So they're ready to waiting to put together. Just leave that there. Right, so we're going to do the centre. So take your column. I'm going to use white paste for this. Again, just have a look at your, Google Cymbidium orchids. Have a look at a vast array of colours. You go for whatever you really fancy doing. So, where did I put that column? Oh, there it is. Right, so again, now I don't need a thick part because this is going to wrap around the dried column. But it's slightly different. It's a bit sticky as well. I'll turn it over. This side. Okay. Right, and then so you take this one. So this is the one that's slightly different from the Cattleya. So you take that. Like so. Put it onto your, oh, I'm going to put all these petals on there now. Tip them off. Okay, so we've got that on there. Right, so we're going to go over, just get a little bit of markings on there. It's a bit rough on the edge there with that cutter. Never mind, it's all right. Right, so if you get your scissors, you could do it with a knife, but if you get your scissors, what you want to do is just cut into there, just to separate that out, and then just take the little pointy tip off that creates. Okay, so turn it over, and I'm going to use my bone tool this time because it's a smaller area, and I just want to frill around the top. Humidity is building up. Oh, it's me. Okay, so do that, and then turn it over, and I'm just going to widen these out a bit, these side pieces, and then just curl them in like so. Right, And then I'm just going to take a small piece of yellow, just work it so it's nice and pliable. Again, this is all still the Mexican paste. So roll it into a little sausage and then taper the ends down. And you want this to be, when it's folded in half, and then it wants to be from down here and just, hang on, I'll show you. Where this is going to go on here, this needs to go just points there on line with that. So fold it in half. It's easier to do it at this stage, I find. Just going to moisten there and there. Make sure that I think it was about there, wasn't it? Let's see when that's on. A bit further up. Yeah, that's fine. So just pop that out, and then if you've got some tweezers, angled tweezers, you can press and just pinch that to a nice little sharp ridge. Okay, right, so then I'm going to moisten the sides of this and then lay that on, and then that comes round. It doesn't meet up here, it's about halfway up, and then you would again just hold it for a moment. You peel that back, just really bring it back, bring those up. If it goes a bit skewy, if it doesn't matter, that's nature, isn't it? But just sit here for about a minute, listen to your favourite song, and then it's firm enough then to, again, you can stick it in your either a rolling pin. I don't know, it doesn't work quite so well, but it does go onto your cake dummy, so you can stick it in the side of that and then leave it. Okay, it's amazing how quickly it dries. So you've got a bit of a crease there, so I'd get rid of that. That just wants to come round like so. Okay. Right, so then you leave that to dry. So I've got one here that's already dried. So I'm going to put all this together now. So I'm going to dust some, I'll use this now. So on this one, I'm going to dust some green down inside. Let's find my brushes and some lime green. And that's just going to go in there. We've already got the dots inside there, see? So I'm not going to bother with that much. And then a little bit of green up the side. Sorry, I'm looking at it if you can't see what I'm doing. Like that. Just going to put a little bit of green around there. Over the column, bring that down. It's only a hint of green here. Right, and then I'm going to do the burgundy. So on this one, fine brush. I'll tidy up. You know my tidying up is that, isn't it? Just sweep everything out of your way. Right, so let's get this. So to begin with, I'm just going to, let's get that out of the way there. And now the main one of this, if the bee or whatever lands on it, it's going down for the pollen. Oh, you can moisten in there and sprinkle some, I haven't on mine, but you can sprinkle some pollen on there, those two yellow bits. But what you do is just putting lots of little dots, and that leads the bee down into the flower. And then just as an irregular pattern, so I'm just putting lots of dots in this. I can't do it side on, sorry. Okay, so just put lots of little, just follow, as I say, follow your flower that you've got as a for instance. And then I go that and I start to paint. Just as I would if I was dusting, you know, and I'm bringing the brush from the outside in, but I'm doing it with the alcohol mixed with the dust. And you can make them a stronger colour or a paler, delicate colour, as you wish. You can see that starting to build up, right? And then you put a tiny little bit behind that white dot that will be there. On there. Okay, but as I say, you can moisten inside there and sprinkle with the pollen if you so wish. You know, the mimosa sugar text. Right, so that's that one done. Oh, hang on. Just going to get a little bit of that burgundy, and I want a bit of dry burgundy now. Okay, so I'm just going up there. Just to get a bit of colour around the base of that. Just on the edge there. Just build it up. Be gentle with this. Don't go mad. Right, so all these then would be lime green. So there's not a lot of colouring on the others. We'll put the lime green brush there. Lime green colour. So that is a front one. So a little bit of lime green. Then you can go over with a hint, and I mean a hint of burgundy. It'll just pick up those lines that you've marked on there. A little bit of lime. Hint of burgundy. Can't even see it really. This is my, oh no it's not. This is my lucky in one. Right. Now then, that must be a spare over there. Okay, so again, I'm going to start. That goes in last. So I'm going to start off with what would be two. That's the big one. That's a big one. That's my two legs. That's a small one, and that's a small one. That's my two legs. I mean, the side ones are hardly any difference in them really. So I'm taping that up. Just stretch that. Now, if you prefer, you can just start it off on one, so that you know you've got that on there, and then you can see that little bit of wire. Just slide that up, and then put the other one on. Right, so up at the top, we've got the two there, and then the two smaller ones on the side. Two legs, a smaller one, and that's a smaller one there. Oh, it looks about the same to me, but anyway, I might have picked up the wrong ones. But who's going to notice? Alan would. Right, let's see. And then the lucky in one. Those are the legs, those are the side ones. And then this is the lucky in one that's curling up. So I'm just going to get those taped on there. So don't be afraid to just pull the tape off, go back up and start again. What you don't want is all this to start coming down like a palm tree. It's not. Right. So I've got my legs. These are wider, you see, so it's more difficult to see, but this is the one that's curling up, so we're going to have that one as the looking in one. So if it's looking in, that has to go that way. Like that. So that one would be looking in. So we're going to start to tape all that up. So I'll go all the way down now. Hands are sweating. There's nothing you can say to say you can't touch this up with, you know, with colour. If you think, oh, I could do with a bit more burgundy on there or something like that. So let's see. So I'm just going to go down one more time. Okay. And because the column was on a stronger wire and everything has gone onto that column, you know, the first bit, that is now nice and solid. It's not going to move at all. And then just hold the top and remember, when you bend it, the legs are down there and this is tumbling out. You're not going to bend it that way. You're bending it that way. So hold the back and just pull that forward. Okay. This is such a strong paste. I mean, you can play around with this a bit. So that's your flower there, and then this one can be taped on as well, a bit further down. So you can have them two like that. Shall I tape them? Tape. And then you always have a few ladybirds or little green aphids to go on if you want to. Like that. There you go. Just need a full width tape just to tape those together. But don't just, you know, have them one looking that way, one looking that way. Don't just have them boom straight like that. But that would be your little design. Could go straight on the side of a cake. You know, if you've got a tall cake, you could put those down. I've got a little mark on there, you see, so a little ladybird on there. Or not. Right, so, oh, hang on. So let me just do this then. You see, never stop. A little bit of water on those two little yellow things there. I thought I hadn't got this in, but I have. And then you can just put in a little bit of the Mimosa Sugar Tax. I thought I hadn't got it on the table. I just spotted it. Right, so a little bit of water on the yellow bits on there. And then you can just sprinkle that in. I've got a little hole in the top. And then tip that out. And that gives you your little Sugar Tax centres, your little pollen centres. Right, Jezza, I'm all hot and bothered. Oh God, it's getting warm. So I'm sorry. Yeah, I apologise again for those who have joined thinking we're going to have a new cutter. Hopefully, fingers crossed, it'll be ready next week. Don't want to rush it, so that's, you know, that's fine. And I thought this was very apt to show you working with a Mexican paste that has been frozen. So all the paste I've used for the two flowers, it's the paste that I made last week. And as I say, the one that was a little bit soft, it defrosted and it was still soft, obviously. So add a little bit more of icing sugar, not corn flour, to it, and that will firm it up nicely. And that's what I've used for today. Okay, so see you next week. Take care, have a lovely weekend. I never know what the weather's going to be like, so let's go with it. Wayne, I have seen your post on the snow. Oh, goodness me. I wish I was there. Maybe not. Maybe it's too much, but yeah, looked beautiful, but it's different when you're actually stuck in it. So yeah, I'll see you next week. Thanks for joining me today, and take care. Bye.
Take care, everyone. Bye bye.